people haven't seen that there's a candle here.
Yeah.
But now that I've talked about it, people are like, oh yeah, there's a candle there.
Right.
And the same thing is with levels of success, in which you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you meet with people that are when you're making like 10K a month, and someone is making 10K a day, you're now exposed to a whole new level that you know that exists, and you see physical proof of it.
Welcome everyone, welcome to another episode of the Life is Bullish podcast. Today we are joined by Kimmel Trading. Welcome man, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
Really thank you for being here, it's really a pleasure. And I would like to start because we got to know each other these days and it was really a pleasure to connect. But a lot of people that are watching us might be wondering who you are, what you are doing. I know it already, I know that a lot of my audience knows already, but maybe sometimes there is a new person that is watching these videos and would like to know more about your story. Just a quick background before we get in the details. Kimmel Trading, I'll just refer to you as this since people can find you with this name on social medias, is funded with more than 1 million. And this happened, I believe, in the last year or in the last few years. So really congratulations on that. I would like to know more about your journey since I found it very interesting when we were talking about these days.
Yeah, so I started trading when I was 18 and when I was in university. So ever since I was like 15 or something, I wanted to invest in the market. And I went to a bank. I asked, how can I invest £200? And they were like, you can't. Like you need just the commissions that you're going to pay is going to eat all your profits away. And so I always had this passion for the market in general, stock market at first. And then once I got into the UK to study, that's where I got introduced into Forex signals. Like one guy the only guy that was Portuguese in my class, the only guy that I hanged out with, he was like, oh, I really trust this guy. And he was a Forex signal provider. So looking back, it's like, why would he do that? Why would he put my money, which ended up being like £800, which was what I earned in a month? Why would he make me put that into a guy that simply was there to blow my money, which is a signal provider? And so that's how I got introduced into trading in general. I started seeing things on my phone, like either going blue or going red when the trade was in profit or in loss. And so I was kind of interested on what was going on. And after blowing the $800, I actually started digging a little bit deeper into how I can learn this, because if I'm making money, then there is a probability of me being able to make money consistently from this.
Right.
And so I ended up stumbling upon Michael Bamber and Hannah Forex, and they basically made sure that I was introduced into the first community that I ever joined. And in that community, like, it was life-changing because I was 18, highly impressionable, which means that if someone would tell me, look, if I would have started with IML, I would probably have kept going with IML. But thankfully, I started actually with a serious community, and I learned about goal setting, daily goals, like discipline. Everything was taught there, plus trading. So you had the trading foundations, you had a trading strategy, you had everything. You had the back testing, the journaling, you had everything. And so that really took me onto a positive spiral of learning to trade, seeing that there is possible profits to be made here. And so I fell in love with it. And in my second year of university, I actually found out, I went to the UK and I found out that my debt had interest on it. It was only 3%, but either way, I was told when I was going into the UK that the debt was interest free. And when I got the realization that it's not, I was like, okay, I'm not going to get into 30K debt for something that I know I'm not going to use. And so I dropped out of university and pursued only trading. And the thing is that when I was doing that, basically what happened is that when I was in university, I was only there until I was able to open up a business. And I was only in the UK in order to work, because minimum wage here in Portugal is like €3 per hour, while in the UK it's €10 per hour. And so I was like, okay, so I want to actually go into somewhere that is going to pay me better. That's why I decided also to go to the UK. And my main focus was always, I am going to work, and that's going to be priority. So work is priority number one, and then university. And then when trading came along, it was work, trading, university.
All right.
No, it was actually trading, work, and university. And yeah, then in 2020, everything happened. Everyone got into lockdown. I ended up still working in like in a testing center for everything that was going on, but ended up getting fired from that. And that was just, I only had 1 month left. I already had booked my ticket back. But yeah, so I was able to save up in 2 years. I saved up like 10K, and that is what propelled me into being able to come back to Portugal, live with my parents, live below my means, like live on like $100 to $200 a month.
Right.
I was only paying for gas basically. And yeah, that's how I got started, and then I just went all into trading, and thankfully it worked out well.
Definitely did. Actually, this is a very interesting beginning, and I had a couple questions about it. So you said that you started with a signal provider, the usual stuff that you find in the beginning especially, and then you moved on to a good community. You were mentioning, and this is what got my attention, that they were really big into mindset, journaling, and all of these things. Do you believe that that was actually one of the turning points that helped you the most? Because I know a lot of communities that just focus on, you know, the course, the trading education, and that's it. Do you believe that you found this community right away, and for that reason it was very good for you?
Yeah, no doubt. And the reason for that is because like goal setting is so important in the beginning stages of your journey, which is like, okay, I have a strategy, I need to backtest it, I need to prove it live, I need to do everything. And so you kind of need to organize yourself into tasks that you have to do. And so every single day I would put like 5 to 10 daily goals that I had to achieve, which were like forecasting, backtesting, reviewing the day, doing a trade recap, watching content. So that really helped when I was being overwhelmed with possible things that I had to do. I had work, university, trading, everything was there. And so if you have that much to do and you only have 24 hours, you need the discipline to be able to do it every single day. And so that's why if I was learning, for example, now I'm learning from ICT, if I was just learning from ICT, I would have not gotten that discipline that I needed in order to follow through with it. Like now I'm not as disciplined as I was before, because now I have much more time on my hands. And so definitely that the first 2 years or 3, I was so focused on just setting goals, achieving the goals, and journaling every day, setting goals every day, doing all the tasks needed every day. That's why I'm here. And it's funny because in one of my live streams, someone asked me, who would you like to thank because of your success? Well, success in parentheses, whatever. And I said, and I pulled up my channel because I started documenting my journey like 4 years ago on YouTube. And I was like, I want to thank this guy, because this guy was working every single day, and he's the reason that I'm at now, that I'm here now. So yeah, it was definitely such a crucial part of my life.
Do you think that documenting your journey on YouTube also helped you actually stay consistent, since you were just publishing it online?
Yeah, I think I'm still trying to understand if now I know that YouTube was a net positive, but before, like 1 year ago, I was trying to understand if YouTube was a net positive or net negative, because I would put a lot of pressure on myself to perform. And if I wasn't performing, then I was like, okay, people are going to judge me, whatever. And now I'm just like, I don't really care. I just do my thing. And if people want to watch, they do. If they don't, they don't. So overall, like YouTube, after 4 years was beneficial. The first 3, probably not. The first 2, probably not. But yeah, I think that having one more thing that I needed to be disciplined on actually kind of help, because again, if you have to constantly trust in the word that you say, okay, I'm going to record a video today, and you actually do it, and you publish it on in the weekend, and you do everything that is needed, that builds discipline. It's like those slowly consistent habits that will eventually build up discipline. And so it was helpful. After 4 years, I can say it was helpful. Before that, I was kind of questioning myself if it was or not.
Definitely, and I believe that you also prove it to yourself that you are actually that person that is being disciplined. So it's not, you both develop it and you also prove it to yourself, so you just end up in a spiral that is positive overall. So definitely this is actually a very inspiring story, I believe, also for all the people that want to start, whether it is their trading journey or trading and social media at the same time. I wanted to ask you, how was the transition actually from not being profitable, documenting your journey and maybe struggling and saving the first money, working a job, to actually being profitable, getting funded with more than $1 million and getting big payouts from prop firms?
Yeah, so it actually took a long time. It was only in the beginning, in the end of last year, that I started actually getting consistent profits from prop firms, because before I was just getting funded, blowing it, not withdrawing, or withdrawing 1 or 2 times, then again repeating the cycle of challenge. Sometimes I didn't fail many challenges. A lot of people say, oh, I've blown like 25 challenges, and I'm like, fuck, like that's a lot. Like most of the challenges I blow, it's now because I'm like risking a lot in the challenges. I just don't care about the challenges. So I never blew through a lot of challenges, but it was the consistent buildup of experience with the prop firms and understanding that I need to maneuver myself in a way that I feel comfortable. So for example, now I have 1.2 million in funding, but I'm only risking 2K per trade. Which it's like 1.18% risk at the end of the day. And so it's like, it's not a lot, but either way, it gives me a substantial income and is able to actually give me consistent profits in the long term. Now I'm not really blowing accounts anymore. I'm just stacking more accounts, which will then make me be able to, okay, if I'm risking 2% on now I'm risking 2K per trade, but if I have 2 million and I'm risking 0.2, all of a sudden I'm risking 4K per trade. And so you can really grow as a trader in getting these consistent payouts by slowly but surely building up the capital and, well, going on with your trading. Because a lot of people that blow so many challenges, they just try to make all the money back that they blew on challenges.
Yeah. But
that's why, for example, the first community was also so good, because it taught me that the goal is actually investor capital, and prop firms weren't even around. Like they were, but they weren't talked about. And so I was always like, okay, I want to build a track record, I want to get in private investors, and then I want to become a full-time trader. And like now my mindset is still the same. I still focus on consistent profits every single day in order to then, by the end of the year or so on, get into private investment.
Wow.
So because it's a thing. Like Elise was on Riz's podcast. It didn't get many views, but it really should, because she's managing like multiple millions with private investors, and the money is much bigger there. It's like, if you really want to be a trader, you have to think about the institutional side. It's not like prop firms. It's like they're just a stepping stone in order to then go on to bigger things. And so that's the way that I approach it. I want to make money from trading. I want to make money from the prop firms to then eventually either build up my own personal account, or just being able to go to private investors and go from there.
Nice. I totally agree that prop firms are definitely good for the industry. You know, in the past when I started trading, there were prop firms, they were just not so popular, and it was a struggle to build your personal capital. But now you can actually use them, you can actually get profits. But the whole thing is not to just get profits and rely on prop firms forever. You can of course keep trading on them or whatever, but if you build your personal account, that's great. If you aim for investors' capital, I believe there are great opportunities. But actually what I wanted to ask you is that I'm not very familiar with investors' capital. How does that word actually work? Like, do you get a percentage of the profits? How do you get investors for the people watching that want to actually get to that point?
Yeah, that's definitely not my expertise at all, and I'm not going to say that it is. But what people can expect is that normally you make a fixed commission, very small, like 2% or something, for managing the capital. So instantly you get 2%. And then you get the higher the amount, and now I'm just quoting Elise basically. The higher the investor, the higher the amount of capital you want, the lower the profit share you are going to get. Okay. Because let's say you have 10 million. And I go to you and I'm like, okay, I'll manage your portfolio, but you'll give me 50% of the profits. Yeah. You're just going to be like, I don't care then. Now I'm going to go to someone else. Yeah. So if you really want a lot of money, then you will have to be happy with like 20% of a profit split. If you want lower amounts, then you can maybe go 50-50. But again, I don't know about that world yet enough. Because back then, to me, like getting 100K from a private investor was already amazing. And now it's like you get 100K from a prop firm, and there comes a point where you can simply gamble it and make money or lose money. Right. And you don't lose anything. So it's whole different worlds. But what I was always told is like 6 to 12 months of a track record of consistent equity curve going up, not big drawdowns, like don't have 5-10% drawdowns and big comebacks. It's like the investors just want to see steady equity curve going up. Yeah. They don't want to see a roller coaster. And so that's what I always focus on. And it's funny because as soon as I started my personal account to build up the track record, it was like straight into 5% negative. And I was like, fuck, okay, come on. But then everything turns around. So, but yeah, it's a whole new world. People eventually go to institutional, but I don't think people will. Like 99.999% of people that are watching this would never want to, or even to be fair, like get to institutional level. Yeah. So yeah.
Definitely. I would love to actually, you're aiming for this possibly at the end of the year or beginning of next year, if I understood well. I would love to sit down in a year from now and actually ask about what is going on.
That would be sick.
Definitely. But I want to ask your opinion right now. Do you think that, between prop firms and investors' capital, that mentally you need to be way more ready to manage that money because you know that it's actually someone else's money? Well, for prop firms right now, everyone knows that it's most of the times is demo money, or even if they A-book you, you don't have pressure on you,
Yeah, prop firms are much easier because you don't even know if you're being A-booked. Right. And to be honest, like 90% of people are not being A-booked, 95. So to me, like prop firms, you don't need to build a relationship with a private investor. You don't need to build a relationship because you're just a number. And some people might look at that and be like, oh, I don't want to be just a number. And it's like, okay, do you want to build a relationship? And if you're in drawdown, then you have to justify yourself to that person. Or would you rather have peace of mind and just be a number? I would rather just be a number for now, and then eventually build up the relationship. But again, I think that most people, I think you should aim to be as professional as a private investor capital manager, but do it with prop firms. Okay. If you do those two things, the probability of you achieving success is much higher. And so that's what I would recommend people to do.
Definitely. Do you have any plans on working on your mindset in a specific way to actually get ready for that level, or maybe you are already?
Yeah, so it depends on the amount of capital that it is and the amount of risk that I'm getting. So for example, now, as I said, I'm only risking 2K per trade. Well, only, so to say. Yeah. It's only keeping in mind the amount of funding that I have. Some people would be like, oh, why don't you just risk 1%? And it's like, because I'm not mentally prepared to have like 10K swings in my equity. I would rather, once again, build the consistency equity curve, being able to not blow funded accounts and just being able to consistently withdraw from prop firms. And so that's the reason why I wouldn't risk 1%. In terms of being mentally ready, I think that I still need to build up more prop firm capital. I still need to get more withdrawals. I still need to get more wealthy, like literally being $1 million net worth being normal to me before I'm able to go for a private investor. Because if I'm looking at 10K swings and I'm getting emotional about it, then I'm not there yet. and that's what I need to work on. So you slowly build up this ability to being able to trade more capital, risk more, see bigger sizes in your trades, and overall in possible payouts or whatever. Yeah. Like for example, right now we were talking about the dollar CAD trade, and it's like, am I super comfortable letting a 4K trade pull back to break even? Not really. Yet it is pulling back to break even. I'm like, fuck. But hey, it is what it is. That's the build up that you have to do. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be something that you slowly but surely build up through repetition.
Definitely. And I really like that we are having this conversation, because I always say that in order to manage more capital, so usually with prop firms, and right now there's also the option of private investors, you need to be mentally ready. It's not only about the strategy, it's not only about the risk percentage that you're gonna risk, but if you're not able to see a 2K just swinging in your account, or you're not comfortable losing 2K in one trade, then it's gonna be very hard. You need to really work on your perception about money.
Yeah.
Especially, well, even more, I believe, us that we are from Europe. Like in Italy, the average monthly salary is like 1.5K.
Yeah.
So if you see just one trade that is swinging 2K or 4K as you are right now, you definitely get attached to that money. You definitely get scared, or whatever emotion you can actually feel. How much do you believe that actually perception of money plays a role into trading?
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. If you look at Kyle, so JadeCap, I mean, people know him by JadeCap. He always said that him managing now $4 million in prop firm capital is actually a downgrade of the job that he had. Like his perception of money is like, he gets a 20K trade and it's good for him. It's not amazing. It's a trade, whatever. Like I followed the process. While to me, if I were to get a 20K trade, 50K payout, whatever, that would literally change my life in terms of, oh, okay, I just made in one payout what my parents do in 2 years together, combined.
Right.
So it definitely plays a role on you, and I understood that when I went also to Miami and I was around everyone, because they're levels ahead of me at least in terms of payouts and whatsoever, and I was able to get into the same frequency of them as them, to now being able to risk a little bit more. Before I was risking a little bit less, but then I started dipping my toes into risking a little bit more, started thinking on more ways to make this consistent too, and yeah, I built up some resilience from being exposed to people that are doing so much more than me. While if I'm here in Portugal, where the average wage is like 1,000,
right,
I would have just made like 4 times that. And so it's not good to be in the mindset of, oh my God, I'm like doing so much more than the average salary here, because that becomes your baseline. And you're constantly pulling back to it. And so I definitely, like, that's one of the reasons that I'm moving to. I just want to get out of that mindset, because I really, really do think that it affects.
100%. I really like that, the fact that you are so humble and you're talking about, I'm connecting with these guys and they talk about numbers. But at the end of the day, we're talking right now, and the people watching are watching a trader that is actually funded with more than $1 million and is getting consistent payouts. You're also in some VIP programs with some prop firms. So I love the mentality, but I want to connect to the fact that you're connecting with some people. How much do you think that your network impacts your results?
Yeah, it's absolutely huge, because again, if I'm in a group chat and I take a trade and everyone makes, and I make 4K and everyone makes 50, I'm like, holy shit, like there's levels. Like normally what I say, it's like, people thus far have not noticed maybe that there's a candle on the table. People haven't seen that there's a candle here.
Yeah.
But now that I've talked about it, people are like, oh yeah, there's a candle there.
Right.
And the same thing is with levels of success, in which you don't know what you don't know. And so when you meet with people that are when you're making like 10K a month, and someone is making 10K a day, you're now exposed to a whole new level that you know that exists, and you see physical proof of it. And so you are able to understand, okay, there's levels to this game, and that's what I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And so that's why your network is so important. It's like you need to be exposed to new levels in order to reach them. I know that not everyone would say that. I don't know if like Jeff Bezos was exposed into $1 billion company, but maybe he would see Apple and be like, oh, I want to aim to be like them or whatever. Right. But with trading, it's so important to constantly never be the smartest guy in the room, and constantly be exposed into new people that have achieved more than you. And you can do that on YouTube, you can do that personally, you can do that by meeting people, whatever it is. Like now with social media, it becomes easier because, as we talked about yesterday, like having a 5K payout on YouTube now is the new normal.
Right.
And it's like, that's not normal, man. Like that's 5K. And people may think that I'm now contradicting myself, but we need to understand that 99% of traders don't get to their first payout. And so a 5K payout is like 5K more than like 99% of traders make. And so you definitely need to respect in general, like every level, understanding that there are more, be exposed to more, respect yours, and then aim higher. So that's why the network is so important.
Definitely, I completely agree with everything. Do you think that there is a specific way to get access to the correct room, so to the correct individuals? So for example, I don't know, I connect with some people that told me the only way to connect with certain people is to first build your social presence, or maybe other ways. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, I think that this social presence is important. But for people that don't want to have a social presence, is build undeniable proof that you want to level up. So what normally happens is that, let's say someone asks you for advice, someone DMs you, hey, I'm going through this, what do you think should happen? And you tell them, oh, I think you should do this, or try this, and you never hear from them again. My approach into connecting with people that are more successful than me was always like, okay, I have this difficulty, can you help me? And again, always being like, okay, this is my problem, this is why I'm coming to you. Like, not just throwing a hey and expecting a hey back and then how are you? No, it's just, here's my problem, can you help me? Some people will answer, some people won't. But then for the people that answer, just go and do in the exact same day exactly what they told you to do.
Yeah.
It's like, I had not a long time ago, I was talking with a now friend, and he was like, oh, you need to get your expenses and your income all on a spreadsheet. And I was like, fuck, that's gonna take so long. And I was like, yeah, but that's the price that it takes for me to connect with people that are more successful than me. And so I was doing a full day for like 8 hours building this spreadsheet that I was then the next day telling him, here's my spreadsheet. And I sent him the spreadsheet. He told me, oh, I think you need to read 5 books before October. And I sent him a list of what books I was going to read and that I purchased them. People are going to be like, oh, okay, he's actually about it.
Yeah.
And they will want to keep talking to you because of that. So if you really think about it, it's like you have either 2 things to offer to people. It's either 1, social media presence, where if you share their work, they will have a little bit more exposure, or 2, giving the sense of fulfillment to people that I'm helping you.
Yeah.
So if I see that you are becoming a better person because of my recommendations, that makes me be happy with myself, with you, with the world, with everything, and it makes me want to share more.
Right.
So those are the 2 main things. Social media presence, so if you share something that they have or whatever, that they will benefit a little bit from it. That's what I have with YouTube mainly. And then I also have the discipline side of things. people actually tell me to do something, I
Right.
will do it and show them the proof that I did. So those are the two main things.
Nice, great advice. I actually never thought about, it's a great point that you made up about when people text you and you give them advice to actually execute right away, because that's definitely what makes the difference. If you see the proof that they are about it, as you said, you'll be happy with it. You'll see that you're helping someone and you'll just be more happy to connect with them, 100%. I want to change a little bit the topic, and I wanted to ask you if you saw any correlation between building your YouTube and your Instagram with actually trading. Is there any correlation that helped you in one aspect or the other?
I think it was mainly the discipline. On Instagram, I started not a long time ago, but on YouTube, like I've been posting for 3 years consistently, one video every single week, and people can literally see the progression from my first video into the latest video that I have. And it's absolutely ridiculous, the difference between editing, camera, confidence, talking, everything is different. And if for the people that are watching, it's like, if you want to see progression, just like you will see in your trading, look at what one video per week does to your channel, to a channel.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous difference. And now think about that in your trading. What does 1 week at a time of consistent work and practice will do in 3 years to your trading? It's ridiculous. But people are looking for their first year and they're like, oh, my videos are still bad, or my trading is still bad, and so I'm going to give up. I didn't even know that my videos were bad. Like, it was funny. Like, for a couple of months ago, I was like, were my videos that bad? And I checked back and I was like, oh my god, they were so bad. Thumbnails were bad, editing was bad, everything was horrible. But in my mind, I was like, I'm doing good. I was posting once a week and I was like, this video is actually good. And I was wondering why it had like 50 views. So it's crazy to see the progression that happens when you consistently work every single day. And people don't see this happening because in your trading you don't see that happening, just like I didn't see any difference between my first year and second year of YouTube, or even first year, second year of trading. It always is a slow progression, and I don't like the compound effect, whatever, but literally the compound effect of consistently putting in the work.
Yeah.
It's genuinely ridiculous.
Definitely. It's the bamboo story.
Yeah,
that
exactly,
you talked about.
exactly that, exactly that.
Exactly. For the people watching, and maybe they're wondering how you got 1.2 million in funding, could you please explain a little bit of your strategy?
Yeah, so I basically started the year off with 6 figures in funding, and by the end of last year, I was actually exposed to ICT. And so I started diving into ICT. I started implementing it into the way that I was trading directly, because I saw that there was potential there. I saw other people being successful with it, especially on Twitter. And so I was like, okay, there's something here and I'm going to make it happen. And normally people look at this and they're like, oh, he wasn't profitable in the other strategies. Why did you go to ICT? And I'm like, no, I just wasn't profitable with one of the strategies that I've traded. And then every single time I was profitable, not super consistent, but profitable at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year mainly. But then something really started resonating with ICT. That's why I dove like deeper and deeper into it. And so started the year off with 6 figures, and then I started having more consistent payouts from the funded accounts that I already had. And so I started slowly reinvesting those profits into more challenges. And I also had the unfair advantage that, okay, if a company wants a review, they'll probably give me a challenge.
Yeah.
But I only took like a couple. I have a couple of free challenges, and then in terms for reviews, I don't really look for a challenge. I don't really care, because if I am doing a review, for example, I always buy a challenge. Because it's so unethical for me to be reviewing something that I haven't used. So I always go for the other way around. I use it, I review it, and then I get the perks from the review. And so I get some free challenges. I buy some challenges with the reinvested profits. I start risking more, and I was quite in the flow during a long time in the market. And so during that time, I was just passing challenges, passing verification, challenge, verification, challenge, verification. My goal this year was 500K in funding.
Wow.
Now I'm at, have I put the minimum trading day? Okay, I'm going to go into 1.2 by the end of this week. And it's like the amount of compounding that also happened with the prop firms, where I was being emotional with the 10K, then I went into a 50K, 100K, now 200K. I'm comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with 200K challenges. I'm comfortable with 100K challenges, but I'm comfortable with the 200K live account. But then slowly but surely implementing a simple strategy, which I've shared on YouTube too, which is I have a daily bias. I know what the manipulation of the market is during a particular day. I enter in line with that bias as soon as there's a market shift, in line with my bias after the manipulation.
Yeah.
And it's successful. Like on the challenges, I'm normally way more aggressive. I'm risking much more. Like this week, for full transparency's sake, I've blown like 200K challenges, which were free either way, but I've blown them. Like it could have been, for example, today, Eurodollar was going bullish, and I was 8 pips away of passing phase 1. And then it just completely reversed, and I breached the account. Right. So I was like, "Oh fuck!" But it doesn't bother me a lot. So because I'm more focused on the live accounts, and on the live accounts, I'm much more professional. So to me, it was building the consistency with smaller accounts, getting the withdrawals, and reinvesting the profits into new challenges, to then being able to be more aggressive with those challenges. And one of the concepts that I came up with myself, and I posted about it in a video, is your comfort number. So for example, for the people that noticed, I said, I'm not comfortable with 200K challenges, but I'm comfortable with 100K challenges. Why? It's double the price. It's like $1,000 for a 200K challenge, and it's $500 for a 100K challenge. To me, I'm at a level where $500 doesn't really matter. But if I keep blowing 200K challenges and I keep blowing 1K, that is going to add up. And so I go into the 100K. I try to pass them consistently with higher risk, but my comfort number is 100K. It's $500 per challenge. For some people, I don't want you to look at this, for the people that are watching, I don't want you to look at this and be like, oh, his is 100K, and so I'm going for 100K. It's like, no. Maybe your comfort number is 10K. That's fine. Go 10K. Then dip your toes into a 20K, 50K. Slowly but surely build it up. Then if you're feeling adventurous, go for 100K. But again, you need to see the success coming from the smaller challenges before you start going for the big boy league.
Right.
Like you're not going to start training football and are going to go against Ronaldo. It's not happening. You're going to go into the smaller leagues, and that's when you prove yourself to be worthy of it, and that's when you scale up in the leagues, just like with trading.
Definitely,
So
100%. Talking about prop firms, did you ever encounter any scam prop firm, or do you just go with the most known ones in order to stay safe?
Yeah, I think that because I have the YouTube, I always had to stick to the best ones, and I always told people, stick to the best ones. I'd stick to the big 3, stick to the big 2, which when my Forex funds came out, I said stick to FTMO. Now my Forex funds is at the top, and I'm like, stick to my Forex funds and FTMO. Now you have the funded trader also going for the top, and I'm like, okay, stick to my Forex funds, FTMO, and the funded trader. And then True Forex Funds is also, in terms of reputable and so on, it's like not as reputable, but the conditions are just so good to trade that I'm like, okay, if you don't want to stick to these 3, which you should, you can also go for True Forex Funds. I'm always very cautious with new firms, and I know that you have a new firm, but I'm always very cautious because I know that the first months are the highest risks for any firm. And so I always tell people, stay away from new firms, build up your capital with the big 2 first, and only then go for other firms that may give you better trading conditions, better prices, whatever. But there's so many scammy prop firms out there now. So people need to be very careful, because you don't want to be spending your money on a prop firm that is going to go down. Like, it's better for you to pay a little premium or have a little bit more harder conditions, but at least you know that in 1 year you'll still have the funded account if you don't blow it. So I've never been with a scam prop firm. Never promoted one too. It was funny. There was one guy that he tries to bash people that review prop firms because they have affiliate links in the description. But he already reviewed like 3 prop firms that were a scam. And I'm like, dude, where is really your moral high ground? It's nowhere. Like, I use this, I promote this, and if someone uses the link, then I get a kickback. Okay, like no one is forced to. So yeah, to me, it's always about main prop firms, and stick to those first, and only then trickle down into the smaller firms.
Yeah, definitely. As a trader, I definitely agree with this. Like, I would do the same. I would say the same. As the CEO of GoFund Trader, I'm like, GoFund Trader is very nice. We offer very good things, but you know. But as a trader, I definitely agree with this. Great message. And also, just big firms have been around for so long. They definitely know what they're doing, and it's so hard for them to actually fail, you know. They definitely have systems in place to stay in the business. So I understood your strategy to actually build up your capital with prop firms. Do you want to mention a bit about your trading strategy? How do you actually trade? Oh, you mentioned about ICT, but do you want to mention any specific way? Because I know that there are people that learned from ICT, but then they kind of incorporate the concept. There are so many ICT concepts. They pick some and they create their strategy.
So in terms of technicals, I traded the 2022 mentorship first. So if people want to know what they would watch, 2022 mentorship, and then it was the core content. And my strategy is daily bias, manipulation of the market shift in line of my bias, and then I just look for an entry, and I look for the next point of liquidity. So it's very simple, straightforward, and it has good results. Like, I try to understand the most how the market delivers, like to the intricacies of what a daily candle looks like. Like, that's the thing with trading. It's like everything is in front of you already. For example, Power of 3, which is a concept of ICT, which is literally, if you look at a candle, it has a body and it has 2 wicks. Most of the candles, that's what you have. So what does that mean? It means that in the beginning of the candle, there's going to be manipulation, then the actual move that is going to go much higher than it is going to close. Then you have the wick on both sides, and you have the body candle. And so everything is in front of you. You just need to be able to understand how to read it and become profitable with it. Because it's not, no, I'm not going to say that. It's hard to become profitable with trading. There's a lot of mental hassles that you have to go through. But I think that if you are able to understand the basics of the market and not be greedy in terms of, oh, I want to get the tightest stop and I want to make a lot of money. Like, in the beginning of the year, and even like 2 months ago, my stops were around 12 pips, and I was aiming for 1 to 3, for example. But now it's like 25 pips, and I aim for a 1 to 2. So it's much more chill. I go mostly on the 15-minute time frame. So it was funny. I was already trading the 5-second chart, and now I'm already at the 15 minutes. So it was 5 second, 15 second, 1 minute, 5 minute, and now 15 minute. Eventually, maybe I'll just be trading the 1 hour, and sometimes I do.
Really?
Yeah. It's quite clean in general. If you understand the bias, then I think that if you then understand how the market delivers, then you can be profitable. So
definitely. And I believe that a lot of people watching, whether they are some ICT students or not, they believe that when they hear some people like you that is funded with more than $1 million, they believe that there is a secret trick, secret strategy, secret thing that you look for in the charts. Is that actually the case?
No, what I've noticed is that people look for the secret when in reality, it's just experience. It's like you're going to get hit so many times by the market. You're going to see price play out so many times. If I really think about it, let me do the calculation. So I've been trading for 4 years. So that times 365 days, that's 1,460 days, which times 24, it's 35,000 1-hour candles that I've seen playing out. And it's like, once you see 35,000 candles playing out, be it on the 1 minute or on the daily, you will understand that you will develop this sense of the market. And so there is no secret, it's just experience at the end of the day. But most people will not get into the 3 years needed to maybe develop a small sense of what it is to be profitable. So
right, most people give up before that.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people expect returns in the first months, maybe even in the first year, and most of the times it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
just a lot of people don't stick around long enough to see the results. I definitely agree.
Yeah, and people get way too entrenched into, because it's a thing, it's what prop firms do. Prop firms are kind of like prop firms are literally like a casino in terms of they want you to see the people that won, they will not show you the people that lost. And so some prop firms do. The Funded Trader not long ago released like a stat on how much people profited and how much did they lose in challenges. Same thing with how many people did not profit and how much have they blown on challenges.
Wow.
So it was crazy to see that some people were like 40K down. Like that's genuinely crazy. But people see prop firms promote someone that has been trading for a year and withdrew like 50K from prop firms, and you're like, oh my god, so that can be me. And it's like, dude, think about the number of people that you've seen on social media saying they blew an account, they've blown 10 accounts, they've blown 25 accounts. There's no shortage of people every single day blowing an account. And so if you just take the other side of it, where you're doing it consistently and you are doing it in a way that, again, taking the investor approach, especially now with the no time limit,
right? Yeah,
you can do it slowly but surely. And so that's what I would tell people to do. It's like, don't get sucked into the ads, the promotion that is, oh, look at how much this person got paid out. I can get paid out 50K, blow 100K, and tell people, oh, I just withdrew 50K. Still, I'm 50K down. So it's like, I'm not a good trader. So people need to understand that there's always a story behind whatever you are being told or you are seeing.
Definitely. And touching on prop firms, after opening mine, I was extremely surprised by how many people just blow their challenge on news. I wasn't expecting that, because of course I know that some people gamble on news. I just wasn't expecting so many. That's crazy actually to think about. So moving on, what are the future plans of Kimmer Trading?
So for now, I'm mostly focused on YouTube and, well, trading obviously. So I'm focused on payouts and growing assets under management, so then I can... The thing with trading YouTube is that it's a funnel. You're a good trader, so people want to see you, so they will subscribe. You're a good trader, so people will follow you, and so on, and so that will funnel down. So my goal is to become a better trader overall, get more withdrawals, do whatever it is, then branch out onto other businesses. I'm going to release a review site very soon, because again, that's the nature of my channel either way. So we'll be releasing a review site, but the main goal is really just become the best trader I can and then funnel that down with what I just said. So it's really just trading. Like, people say that I'm an influencer, and I guess that I need to wear that hat proudly because, again, it ends up being true. But at the core, I've always wanted to be a trader, and so that's what my main focus is. And if I don't perform well in trading, then I don't feel good in terms of life. While if a YouTube video doesn't perform that well, I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Well, it does matter, but either way, like I'm much more chill with YouTube not performing than me not performing with trading, because again, I know that trading is at the core of my future success. So
100%. I really appreciate it, man, and it was an amazing conversation, amazing to connect here in Lisbon, and thank you for coming in the podcast.
Thank you for you to come, because you just flew out in 1 week's notice. So I really appreciate that. That shows a lot of work ethic, and yeah, man, I'm excited to see where everything is 1 year from now. So,
Definitely, we'll connect again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.